Shalom, Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah to all my brothers, Yahweh Shemar Latha Bahashim, Yahweh Shah to all my sisters. This is the ISUPK, straight out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. And what we do is we teach the Black, Hispanics, and Native people that they are God's true and only chosen people. And with that comes a responsibility to love each other as we love ourselves. And what that is called brotherhood. And that's what today's class is about. It's about brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? This class is the brotherhood class. And what we're going to do is teach about loving our sisters, loving our women in our nation, loving those Black, Hispanic, and Native women properly. See, we are both broken. Black men and Black women are both broken due to the oppression of our enemy. Our enemy have oppressed Black men and Black women, Hispanic women, Native men and Native women, to the point that both sides is broken. And our problem is we look at each other as if we're the problem. We look at each other as if the solution lies within us. But let me make some things clear. If you are a broken person, the solution to our problem as a people relies in the scriptures, which is heavily put on the men of our nation. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to understand first, is that the scriptures is put on the Black men, Hispanic men, and Native men to lead. Excuse me, y'all. Now, once we understand those scriptures and we start leading properly, there's a greater sign of hope within us. Now, we're going to start off with no, not Romans. I ain't going to do the Romans first. Let's go with 1 Corinthians 11:3. That's what I typed in there. I'm going to give y'all some time to get there. Go with 1 Corinthians 11:3. Because during this time, you see wars on the brink. The Third World War is on the brink. Yo, the time is near. Christ could come back tomorrow for all we know. There's no time to be bickering over small things. You know what I'm saying? We got to be bigger than that. Bickering over small things between each other is pointless. The time is near. It's either you're getting into the body or you're not. It's just that simple. If you're not, well, hey, continue moving on. Walk on. I mean, I wish you did, but I ain't going to stop you. You want to be hand in hand with our enemy? Go ahead. But my job is to bring as much as our people together as possible. You know what I'm saying? But if you're in class and if you got any questions, type them on in. Type on any questions you may have. As you can see, I got the questions on the side. So, if I see it, you know what I'm saying? I have no choice but to see it because I'm looking at the screen, looking at the camera, looking at the side chat too. You know what I'm saying? I have no choice but to see it. But we're going to get with it. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. What does that mean, the head of every man is Christ? What does that mean? The head of every man is Christ. What does that mean? Let me make it clear to you. Our example as Black, Hispanic, and Native men, our leader, our rule of thumb is Christ. That's our leader. That's our example. That's who we should be like. The way Christ moved in these scriptures is how we should be moving. You know what I'm saying? Anything less is not adequate. We should be moving like Christ. So the head of every man is Christ. That's important to know. Because a lot of y'all like to say, I don't need nobody to teach me. I'm running things, or I have no head. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of ego that prevents that from happening. Put aside your ego. Your ego don't mean nothing. Your ego just going to get you killed. And we see that in the streets every day, how ego gets people killed. It's no different in these scriptures. Your ego, you thinking that you bigger than what you are. You thinking that you the shit. Salaki for my language. You thinking that you the I don't know how to put that nicer. Bee's knees. You know what I'm saying? That's going to just going to get you killed. What you should be doing is following Christ's example. Christ didn't half step. Christ wasn't a coward. Christ was stern. You know what I'm saying? Some people may even say Christ was rude. Christ was mean. Christ wasn't no bit. It's lucky for my language. Christ wasn't weak. He wasn't weak at all. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue. I'm going to start that from the top. But I would have you know. This is what you must know. I would have you know. This is what you must know. I would have you know. I need to let you know this. It's highly important that the head of every man is Christ. And the head of the woman is the man. The head of the woman is the man. Who is that man that's leading that woman? Who is that man? If you're in right now, put it in the chat. Who is that man that's leading that woman? If you're in the chat right now, put it in. I know some of y'all watching on y'all TVs and things, and y'all know how to chat through the TV, which most of them can't do. But give y'all like 10 more seconds to answer it. Who is that man that should be leading woman? Now let me remind you, it says the head of every man is Christ. So if Christ is not the head of that man, he should not be leading woman. He should not be leading woman. There's things that a man believe, like even these Old Testament so-called Hebrew Israelites should not be leading women because their way of thinking is archaic and problematic. They have no compassion. You know what I'm saying? They're quick to lead their woman for anything because the law of Moses permitted that. And that wasn't even the spirit behind the law of Moses. That wasn't even the spirit behind it, but the law of Moses permitted that, and they are okay with that. But the man that should be leading woman is a man that's being led by Christ. When she is born, she is being led by her father. Some man is always going to lead a woman, period. Even if it's in wickedness or righteousness, some man is always going to be leading women. I know a lot of these women are acting as if they don't need a man, but your boss is most likely a man. There's like a 95% that he's a man. If not, your boss's boss is a man. Now, what am I saying by bringing that up? She starts off, her first leader is her father. Her father is her first head. Her father is the first example of what a man should be. You know what I'm saying? And naturally, the way it should be after the father is the husband. But unfortunately, in the society that we live in, there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of things that that's not right. The black man is abandoning their children because they are too weak to deal with the woman's mouth. They are too weak to deal with the headaches that she brings about. Which is okay, that's the way it is. But you know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. But those same women that have a problem with black men leading them, have a problem with Hispanic men and Native men leading them, they have no problem with their white bosses leading them. Their white boss telling them to come in on Monday to work, they are in on Monday to work. And they're saying that's for money, or I guess lucre is your money. Lucre is your God. Mammon is your God. Because if you rather listen to your boss because he gives you money, that means your God is money. And that's not what the Most High is about. The man is leading because he is more rational. He's not emotional. He thinks more logically. Women like to bring up emotional intelligence a lot. You know what I'm saying? As if emotional intelligence means anything. Because we could sense when somebody's sad or happy, or that doesn't matter. As a black man, I'm quick to tell you to get over it. Might be a flaw, might not be. Shalom, Yahweh Shemal Athabah Shim Yahweh Sai. What's going on, Sister Maya Call? Straight out of Texas. That's my sis right there. What's going on? But that is our problem right there. You know what I'm saying? The sister is quick to just shrug a black, Hispanic, or Native man's opinion to the side because it's not paying her. And that's a problem. That is straight up and down a problem. You know what I'm saying? But let's get with it. Let's continue. And the head of Christ is God. Y'all don't see the steps? Y'all don't see the steps? Let me tell you something. Those steps are very important. Because the head of Christ is God. So if if Christ is following God, and that man is following God, and that man is following Christ, and that woman is following the man, what does that mean? That means that woman is following God. It's a step-by-step process. You can't. I know in the Christian church, a lot of women like to say they're married to God, God is their king, Christ is their king, whatever, so forth and so on. But there's no man in between there. They go home and they make all this food for the pastor, do everything for the pastor while their husband's at home starving. The husband can't even get a chicken wing out the pan because that pan's going to the church. It's going to the church cook-off or whatever they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I was never the most Christian of Negroes. You know what I'm saying? I rebelled since the Christian church since a youth. My father was a Christian. My father was actually a choir director. And that's why he ended up with 21 kids and dying of AIDS. Because the simple fact is, he was a Christian. He wasn't following Christ. He was following his own lusts and desires. And when a woman don't want to follow her man, she is following what she wants, her own lusts and desires. And your own lusts and desires is just going to get you destroyed at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's going to do. If you have any questions, type them on in. You know what I'm saying? If you have any more questions. But that's important for you to know. That it goes woman follows the man follows Christ, Christ follows the Most High. If there is a break in those steps, that means you messed up somewhere. Where's that link messed up? Because we know the link between God and Christ is not messed up. So now you got to look at your man. Is your man following Christ? If he is, now you got to look at yourself. Are you following Christ? And now you being the prime nurturer of the family, are your kids going to be following God? Questions you must ask. Those are the questions you must ask. Just ask yourself that. You know what I'm saying? Let me get back to this chat. Let me type in the next verse we're going to, since nobody has any questions. All right, that's the next verse we're going to. I know y'all see it up there. All right, actually, we're going to start with verse 9. This is going to be a little deeper. A lot of brothers like to start with the verses that I put up there, but I'm going to go a little deeper. I'm going to go into a little more deeper into it. We're going to start with verse 9. All right. If you're there, read along with me. If not, in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel. Like there's a certain way that a man should dress, and there's a certain way that women should dress. And in like manner, they should adorn themselves in modest apparel. They should be completely covered. Now we know how it is going out there in the world, man. You don't even gotta go outside. Go on TikTok, go on Instagram. You see what these sisters are doing. And it's our fault that they're doing that. Let's be real about it. It's straight up and down our fault. Because the simple fact is, if we wasn't liking it, increasing their views, increasing their likes, increasing their comment section, they wouldn't do it. They are doing it for attention. They're out here half-dressed looking like hoes for attention. Now, what is there to do? If you cut off that attention, what are they to do? They will look to their man for attention, give him a few headaches, and he will give them that attention. And that's the way it should be. Not every headache a woman gives you is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I know you want to watch the game, play some video games or whatever. You want to sit back, relax. And she coming, you know what I'm saying? She's all up in your ear. Guess what? That's not always a bad thing. Not at all. That's not always a bad thing. You give her that attention. Because if you don't give it to her, she's going to end up with another man's rod in her mouth because he is giving her that attention. He will go through the headache of listening to a bunch of stuff he don't want to hear just so he can get in her box because he ain't man enough to find box out there that's free and open to the, you know what I'm saying, to whoever's willing to earn it. He'd rather go in somebody else's box because it's easier. And that's what you got to deal with. So you give your woman that attention. She's all up in your ear, blah, 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 blah. Well, I hear you. Man, that's crazy. What else happened? You spew those things in the air, she's about as happy as can be. You ain't got nothing else to worry about. Give her that attention that she's looking for. I understand you might not be there all the time. You might be a busy man, as busy as can be. Entertain phone calls. Do what you got to do. And I pray for you brothers with more than one rib. Woo! You got a heavy battle ahead of you. A heavy battle. I don't know if I'm about that life, but you got a heavy battle ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. It's Salakia. Verse 9. In like manner, also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness. What does it mean to be shamefacedness? Because I know as black people, black, Hispanic, and Native people, we equate shame as a bad thing. You shouldn't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't be. Some things you should be ashamed of. Some things you should be ashamed of. If you're walking around half naked, you should be ashamed. That's why when you was a child and somebody see you naked, you cover yourself and you scurry off because you're ashamed. Not everything is for everybody's eyes, and you don't want to be seen in such a light. You should be ashamed. You know what I'm saying? For us black men, if your woman is out there on a stripper pole, you shouldn't be promoting her Instagram talking about come to the club and see her. You should be ashamed of that. You should be ashamed of your woman being on the stripper pole. But if your woman's dressing modest, you shouldn't be ashamed of that. Your woman's not on Twitter giving it up for the gram, you shouldn't be ashamed of that. She don't have an OnlyFans page. You shouldn't be ashamed. But you should be ashamed of the things that actually bring your people down. Not just your people, but you and yourself. You should be ashamed of that. The problem is, as a people, we glorify such behavior. We got people like Suki Hana. We got people like Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion. All these hoes that, Salaki for my language, all these women that all women look up to as if they actually mean something, as if they have some value. And as if what they're talking is real. What they're talking is not real. Cardi B didn't even want her own daughter listening to her music. So you know the life she's living is not real. The life, I mean, not the life she's living. The life she's spitting is not the life she's living. Her daughter couldn't even hear whack because she's not really living that life. And she don't want her daughter to live that life because she knows it's a shame. It's a shame. She knows it's a shame. You know what I'm saying? Any brother out there talking about he going to take another man's woman, you're borderline a homosexual. No, not even borderline. You're a full-blown homosexual. And you should be ashamed to want another man's woman. No different from our women should be ashamed to be half naked on TV, talking about taking a man's money and all this and all that, breaking. You know what I'm saying? You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed treating our sisters as if they're nothing. You know what I'm saying? There should be a shame a part of that. But I understand this world have y'all thinking because y'all getting money off of doing that, that's the road to go with y'all career. But y'all don't understand that the career that y'all going with is affecting y'all people. And now that people that don't got that money or got that lifestyle is now living that behavior. There's women on Instagram with roaches in a dirty background, clothes everywhere, twerking, seeing roaches on the wall and everything. But that they shouldn't be ashamed of that because they're trying to get some money. This world's completely messed up, man. But let's continue. and sobriety. They should be safe and they should be sober. A modest woman should be sober. Shouldn't be online smoking all the, you know what I'm saying, getting as high as get, drinking everything, drunk and high all damn day. She should not be doing it. It is not what a woman of God would be doing. I understand if you're having a good time and you with your peoples and you're in a safe space, nothing wrong with having a little drink. Plenty wrong with having some weed. Don't be smoking. That is disgusting and foul and not of the Most High. There's no excuse to get high. There's absolutely no excuse. If you're getting high, that means you're just simply weak and broken. And I understand we all are weak and broken as a people, but muster up some strength. Muster up some strength to get through that. Muster up some strength to get through that. You know what I'm saying? Salakia. But we're going to get back with it. All right, verse 10. But which becometh woman professing godliness with good works? Oh, Salakia, I'm jumping ahead. Not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array. That's not where your value is. Your value is not in those things. Your value is not in broidered hair, because I know y'all sisters love y'all hair. Y'all like looking as fly as can be. I understand. You know what I'm saying? Or gold or pearls. You know what I'm saying? Decked out. You got all the jewelry you need. Or costly array. Oh, you got all the fly clothes you need. You got that Louis, you got the whatever else y'all wear, that Gucci, whatever, or the white man's apparel. And y'all think there's value in that. There's no value in that. No value at all, but let's go. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. That's what you should be doing. Close your mouth and listen. Close your mouth and hear what the brothers are saying. You're too trapped and intertwined into your emotion to actually hear what the brother is saying. That's your issue. You know what I'm saying? And with that, you know what I'm saying? You can learn more by hearing. You can learn more by keeping your mouth shut. If you always yapping and running your mouth, how can you learn? How can you hear anything? You can't. You absolutely can't hear nothing. So you can't learn nothing because you only thinking about your lust and your desires. You want things to go your way. And now look what happens. But let's continue. But I suffer, verse 12, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to assert authority over the man. Like, I mean, I don't know if y'all in Clubhouse, but if you go in Clubhouse, there's a whole bunch of women teaching and showing authority above a man. And they're mostly Christian women. No, yeah, mostly. You know what I'm saying? I was going to go off of UPK standards, but y'all might not understand that because if you're not UPK, you're all Christian. But y'all don't live by that standard, so I'm going to say mostly Christian. Everybody else is probably Kemetic or, you know what I'm saying, Old Testament or wearing purple or something. But let me tell you something. A woman cannot teach or assert authority over man because know why? We don't take that serious. I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but women, we don't take what you got to say serious. Y'all are too emotional. And when y'all trying to be serious, we barely hear you because you are too emotional to actually spit out a logical thought. So what do? We mostly tone you out. Mm-hmm. Yep, I hear you. And that's what we're going to do. That's man's nature. Because the simple fact is we think logically. We think with a rational mind. And y'all coming in with all y'all emotion, it's going to bring things to the left. You know what I'm saying? But to be in silence, that's what a woman should be. She should be quiet. It's a beautiful thing. A quiet woman that's a beautiful thing. A woman that's not always complaining, whining, putting out her opinion on Instagram, talking about yes, snapping her fingers and twerking all over the place. A quiet woman, it's about as fly as it gets. Nothing better than a quiet woman. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Verse 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. What does that mean? Did that mean Adam was the first person? No. Adam was the first to give the law. He was the first to mature past his own lusts and desires. He actually followed God's law first. Then Eve, because he was teaching Eve. He was instructing Eve. Eve was following him, right? But let's continue. Verse 14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. The snake did not come to Adam because Adam wouldn't have fell for it. Adam would not have fell for it. Eve fell for it. Eve did. And Adam fell for Eve. That's a true power that y'all women have. Y'all women have an influence over your man that is uncanny. But Eve fell for the transgression. Eve was the first one to eat the fruit. Eve fell for the lies of the serpent. She fell for the lies of the serpent. How could I equate that to modern day time? What is the lies of the serpent today that women fall for? I see y'all in class. What's the lies of today that women fall for? A woman that don't got no guidance from no man of the Lord. What wisdom of lies of the serpent is she falling for? I'm going to put it into you in some hood phrases. Hot girl summer. You only live once. Make your coin. Get the bag. Those are the lies of the serpent that women believe today. They don't need a man. Those are the lies. You know what I'm saying? Those are the lies that our sisters are believing. And it's up to us men to guide them through that, to show them that those lies is BS. That ratchet lifestyle only leads to death. And the woman that's exploiting that ratchet lifestyle is not even living it. They don't live that, but they exploit it because they see the money behind it. While the woman that's living it is being abducted, killed, raped. But that's the things that our women are taught. And it's up to us as black men, Hispanic men, Native American men to teach our women that that's not the way to go. But let's continue. But the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. There's that word sobriety again. Our women have a real hard, like I thought the black men had a sobriety issue, but no, it's even harder on the women's. The women are more addicted than black men to drugs. And I only learned that, like society will not even show that. I only learned that in the career I had, which was a recovery specialist, which was to help people get sober. So I had to be in the what's the name, and I had to go out to the field. If you go down Mass Ave, you're gonna see a whole lot of white people. Even though Mass Ave is being cleaned up right now. They're taking away all the tents, but it's gonna liven up back in the summer where they don't need tents. But if you go down Mass Ave, right, you're gonna see white women, a lot of them with black men, as disgusting as that may be. And you're going to see white men with white women. Yeah, white women are more high than anybody on the planet. But more than black men, you're going to see black women. And they single. They out there strung out, no protection, no guidance, nothing. There's more black women on Mass Ave than black men. And our brothers rather protect and deal with a devil than to protect and guide our women that's in that same trouble that they're in. And you can see that on Mass Ave. Easy. I'm telling you right now, more than anybody. I can tell you right now. That's why they don't want to do a war on this new common drug right now. They don't want to do that because the simple fact is the object would be white women. Because white women are high on everything right now. They are high literally on everything. But we're gonna drop that. Let's get we might have to hop to the Apocrypha. I don't know if y'all have that. No, I think this is let me figure out something. Yeah, let's go to Ecclesiastes 7 and 26. That's actually in the Bible. It's not Ecclesiasticus, which is in the Apocrypha, which is in the Bible too. But the Bible that we know nowadays is not actually the real Bible. The real Bible actually has the Apocrypha in it, which are like, I think it's like 12 or 14 books that the Roman Church took out. I think it's 14. Yeah, 14 books that the Roman Catholic Church stripped out of the Bible, which is funny because those books that took out equate for a time period in history that is not spoken of in the Bible without those books, which is the Greek occupation, the Greek rulership, the Greek reign. Why would they take out the Greek reign? Because there's a connection that the Apocrypha makes between the Old Testament and the New, which makes it a smooth transition. And they didn't want that. They wanted to divide the Old Testament and the New Testament so they could get away with that, the law's done away with, and all that other stuff that they talk about, right? But my fault. Let's get with it. Even though we're not in the Apocrypha, I like talking about the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha is one of my favorite things on this planet. Do I want to go up a verse? Nah. All right. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets. Okay, let's get with it. What does it mean for a woman's heart to be snares and nets? You in here, what does that mean for a woman's hearts to be snares and nets? I'm going to help you out a bit. I'm going to help you out a bit. A woman's whose heart is snares and nets. A snare is a trap. A net is a trap. It entangles you. You are lost and you are caught in something that you should not be in. So a woman's heart that's snare and traps, that man finds more bitter than death. You know why? Because a man is occupied with something that's obviously not worth it. And that is more bitter than death. That's why you got to take your time with our sisters. Spend some time. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that their heart is not snares and nets. That they ain't all into themselves and have to trap you up so they can fulfill their lusts and desires. Every ratchet hoe out there is a snare in the net. She's a snare in the net. Suki Hana, Cardi B, you know what I'm saying? All these hoes that's running around on Love and Hip Hop and all that. They're snares and nets because all they think about is their self. They are completely selfish. And within their selfishness, a man gets trapped in trying to please them because it's only a man's instinct to make his woman happy. It's his instinct. And as men, we have to fight past that so we won't get trapped up in those snares and nets. You know what I'm saying? So what is more bitter than death? A woman's whose heart is like snares and nets, man. Her whole mind is about getting you for what you're worth. You know what I'm saying? When the Bible talks about the heart, believe me, the actual organ, the heart, just only pumps blood. It doesn't do nothing else but pump blood. You don't get no spiritual feeling from it, none of that. When it says the heart, it's actually talking about your mind. So let's read that again, all right? And I find more bitter than death the woman whose mind is snares and nets, in her hands as bands. What does it mean as bands? Cuffs or bands. You know what I'm saying? Anything to snag you up, cuff you up, you know what I'm saying? It's cuffing season. And cuffing season is actually almost over. But that's what that's meaning. Her hands are as bands. They're going to snag you up and wrap you up. They're a trap. You know what I'm saying? That's what her mind is about. Her mind is about trapping you up for whatever lust and desire she may has. It may be financial, it may be sexual, it may be mental. Who knows? She might want you to join Kemet for all I know. I don't know. But be careful. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Whoso pleases God shall escape from her. Whoever pleases God should escape from her. What does that mean? You may be attracted to her. You may like her. You hollering at her. She's giving you everything that you need to hear. You about to let it happen. You about to get it in. You want it to be right. Your mind is in the right spot. You want to wipe that up. But the Most High is pleased with you. Guess what? The Most High going to snatch her away from you by hook or by crook. Because she is a poison unto you, who he cares about. She ain't about that business, but you are. So y'all fighting all day, every day, just so you can get the business done. And the Most High wants the business done. So what happens? She may get a heart attack or something gruesome. She may die. That's about as extreme as it gets. Or she might end up Salakia, might have intercourse with another gentleman. Or she may leave you because she wants to. You know what I'm saying? If they want to leave, let them leave. You don't got to fight that. If you fight that, that shows your character. You're willing to put up a fight because you really want her. But at the same time, you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? If they want to leave, let them leave. That's just the wise thing to do. Because if not, you might end up in jail, prison. You know what I'm saying? You might end up dead. Who knows? They want to leave, let them leave. You know what I'm saying? But the sinner shall be taken by her. But the sinner, the man that's into that, the man that's probably having all types of secret everything, he probably got an OnlyFans account and everything, right? He probably dealing with all types of prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what he's doing? But he's a sinner. He's a drug dealer. He's a pimp. He's a whatever. He's going to be taken by her. He's going to be taken by that woman whose heart is snapped, whose hearts are snares and traps, hands are bands. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be taken by her. He's going to be stuck with that. Why do you think Kanye was stuck with Kim Kardashian for so long? I don't know how he did that. Oh, God. But he ain't a righteous man anyway. You know what I'm saying? That was ugly. But let's drop that. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians. Oh, no, not there. Oh, my bad. This might upset a few. I might upset a few right now. But so be it. My job is not to put smiles on y'all faces. No. Actually, we want to start up a verse. Start at 33. All right? If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not. But we actually going to start at 33, all right? First Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. Hold up. No, I ain't going to go there. 33. For God is not the author of confusion. What does that mean? What does that mean? What is confusion? Confusion is anything that goes against the Most High's will. Anything like that is confusion. You know what I'm saying? The Most High's will, for example, God, Christ, man, woman, then kids. Where does the confusion come in? A lot of women will put their kids above their husband. A lot of women would do that. They'll put their kids above their husband. That is confusion. A lot of people would, a lot of women will put themselves above them. A lot of men will put their women above them. That's confusion. She is not your leader. I was watching this Christian show, and then, you know what I'm saying, you had a female pastor. The husband was just a regular dude. and she ran the household. And you wonder why you got a homosexual son. Because you're not running things. You know what I'm saying? Homosexuality is not by chance. No, they're not born that way. This is a choice, and it's a choice through the trauma that they were raised with. And they seen their mother having authority. They might want that same authority that their mother got. And instead of seeing that authority in a man, they see it in a woman. You know what I'm saying? So if they see that authority in a woman, that's where the confusion comes in. Let's read that from the top again. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. God is not the author of confusion. He's the author of peace. What does it mean he's the author of peace? Author of peace is through order. You can only have peace through order. You know what I'm saying? And he is the author of that order. And what he says goes. If it's going against what the Most High says, it's not of order. It is not of peace. So a woman exerting herself over a man, thinking that she has power, thinking that it's her way or the highway, what she says goes, YOLO, well, that's not of peace. That's not of peace. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Verse 34. Let your woman keep silence in the churches. Let your woman keep silence in the churches. That's important. What is the churches, though? This is what we don't understand. What is the churches? Can y'all explain to me what the churches are? I could tell you what the churches are now. Let me put you on game. The churches are the body of Hebrew Israelite men gathered in one accord. It's not a building. It's not a building at all. So when there's a bunch of Hebrew Israelite men, a bunch of Black, Hispanic, and Native men talking, the woman should keep silent. They ain't kicking her out of the situation. Just listen. Listen. You might learn something. Just keep silence amongst the church, especially when we're talking about the Lord's business. Because whatever opinion you got on, like I'm seeing these sisters on Clubhouse, yipping and yapping, and all they do is cause confusion. They ain't really saying nothing special of any value or edification. They just running their mouths trying to prove that they're as smart as men. And most men, we have the pride not to battle women. All we're going to do is tell you to shut up. That's all we're going to do. Because battling you is fruitless. Trying to get you to understand the scriptures is fruitless. And it's not very good looking for a man to do. You know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do, we're going to tell you to hush. Stay in a woman's place. Be quiet. Kick you out the room. Something to that effect. But you see that all the time in Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. For it is not permitted unto them to speak. It is not allowed for them to speak. It's not allowed for the woman to speak. Because what is she going to say? The first word is going to come out of her mouth is what I believe or how I understand. Nobody cares what you believe or what you understand. Hell, they don't even care what I believe or understand. It's about what the scriptures say. And a lot of these women don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. But they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. That's what they should be. They should be under obedience. To who? Let's get with it. Let's see who they should be under obedience to. It's very simple. We go back to that ranking order. They are under obedience. Should be under obedience to their man. If their man is under obedience, he should be under obedience to Christ. We all know Christ was under obedience. So he's under obedience to God, which ultimately means the woman will be under obedience to God. Or the man will ultimately be under obedience to God. Because the simple fact is that order means something. You don't have enough value that God will speak to you directly. You think God cares what you got to say? God don't care what you got to say. You are not the leader. You are not the chosen one to actually lead our people out of the hell we're in. Who are you that you believe God will speak to you directly? Stop it. But let's continue. But they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. Like this is the New Testament, but this is also in the law. This is also in the law, but let's continue. For if they will learn anything, if a woman is to learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. Like, don't come to me with the BS. That's why the ISUPK, we are quick to tell a woman, does your husband allow you to come to this class? Of course, out of her greed and selfishness, she will say, yeah. And we be like, well, let us speak to your husband. Let us speak to him. Let us get that approval from him directly, because we ain't going to teach a woman unless the man okays it. We're not like some other groups out there that wear purple that would teach a woman and tell her that she got to leave her man because they're not evenly yoked. That's not what we do. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? Not what we do one bit. What we do is we follow the law. And that says right there, I'm going to repeat it. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. So if they got to learn something, they got to ask their husband if it's all right to learn it. If he says, no, you can't go here, I'll teach you this myself, well, so be it. So be it. But these women out here, they rather go to A, B, C, and D. They got itchy ears, man. Itchy ears. And they rather go everywhere else but to their husband. Because the husband ain't going to tell them something they want to hear. If the husband's a real man, he's not going to tell them something they want to hear. You know what I'm saying? For it is a shame for a woman to speak in a church. You are shaming your husband if you're running your mouth in the church, man. If you're out there thinking that you know something, teaching, you asking a bunch of men that your husband don't approve questions, that is a shame unto him. You're making him look bad and ultimately making yourself look worse. He might be a righteous man. The community will know. But he's looking bad for that second. But you ultimately look worse. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to the next verse. Let's go to the next verse. Let's go to Ephesians 5:22. I did that again. All right, Ephesians. If you're there with me, read along. I'm going to go up one verse. Go to 21. Because y'all women got things in your mind I got to pluck out real quick. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21. Submitting yourselves one to another in fear of God. What does that mean? Submitting yourselves one unto another in the fear of God. Who understands what that means? Let me make it clear for you. God made a ranking order. He made ranking order. He put people in a position that is above you so they could lead you properly. You got to submit yourself to that person in fear of God. Because if you don't submit yourself to that person, guess what? You are not just rejecting that person. You are also rejecting God's order. A woman that is rejecting her husband from leading, she is rejecting the fear of God. Let me explain. Submit yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. So if you fear God as a man, if I fear God, the man that is put in a position above me, I got to fear him too. Because God put him in the position above me. And that fear don't mean, woo, I'm scared of him. Nah. That fear is respect because God put him in that position. Now, woman, you have to submit unto your own husband as if he is God, as if he is Christ, as if he is the Lord, because guess what? He is your Lord. Sarah called Abraham Lord. And that's what you, as a daughter of Sarah, should be doing. Submitting yourself unto your husband, especially if you believe him to be a righteous man. If you believe him to be a righteous man, guess what? You should be submitting unto him. You should. You should be treating him as if he's God. You should be following him and beckoning unto his every word. You should be asking him questions about this scripture, that scripture. You should be trying to learn from him. You should be at his foot. That's what you should be doing. But most sisters don't fear God. That's why they out there twerking and on stripper poles and everything. So, brothers, if you find a woman that even fears God, make sure she fears God. She is a ruby. She is a ruby. Seek counsel first, though. You know what I'm saying? Seek counsel. For the husband is the head of the wife. Oh, yeah, verse 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church. And he is the head, and he is the savior of the body. So, women, if you want to get saved, you got to fall into your husband. Because Christ is the savior of this church. Christ is the savior of the body. And if your man is following Christ, you should be following your man. You should be doing that. He is your hope. He is your guide. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Verse 24. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, just like I have to follow Christ, I am subjected under Christ. Just like every man that's above me is subjected under Christ. And if I believe those men are following Christ, then I should be subjected unto them. So just like your husband is subjected under Christ, let's continue. So let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. You should be just like that to your husband in everything. The way I treat this body, the way I treat I'm willing to do anything A woman should be able to do that to a husband, especially if a man is following Christ. If he's not, you still should be able to do it because you made that choice to lay down with him. But let's continue. Verse 25. And this is important. Verse 25 is important, especially this is for us black men, us Hispanic men, and us Native men. We got to hear this verse very importantly. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church. We got to love our women just as much as Christ loved the church. What does that mean? How did Christ love the church? Do you know how much Christ loved the church? Christ taught the church. He guided the church. He had patience with the church. He died for the church. And that's how we should be for our wives. We should be able to do all that for our wives. If you're not able to do that for her, forget whatever other requirement may be on the table. That's not important. The most important requirement is you being willing to die for that woman. You being willing to teach that woman. You be willing to guide that woman. That's the most important requirement. If you're not willing to do that, leave her alone. Leave her where she's at. Who knows? Maybe she might come across a dude that's willing to. It may be in wickedness or righteousness, no matter what it's in. He's willing to do it. You don't put you, because it's just going to be a headache and a weight to you. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. As Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Christ gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. He gave his life for the church so that the church could be better. You got to be willing to give up everything so that your woman could be better, so that your family could be better, so they could be cleansed. If you're not trying to do that, then what are you doing? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Our women are naive. They believe anything they see and hear. They need our guidance. Don't forsake that. You forsaking that is just a shame on you. You know what I'm saying? But let's drop that. Let's get with the next verse. Let's get with Proverbs. Should I go to that one yet? No, I ain't going to that one yet. Go with 1 Peter 3:7. I type that in the chat. If you got any questions, you know what I'm saying, type it in. Only got one question today. It was kind of weird. All right, if you're there. Actually, we'll start with 6. 1 Peter. If you're there, read along with me. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. Like, y'all remember the verse we just read. The women got to be subjective unto their husband as unto the Lord. Our women got to see their man as God. If they don't, they shouldn't be with that man. Point blank period. If you don't see me as God, don't be with me. Because just like Sarah called Abraham Lord, your woman should be able to do the same with you. Whose daughters you are the daughter of Sarah. You are an Israelite woman. You are a Black, Hispanic, and Native woman. You should be doing the same thing as your foremothers, calling that man Lord. As long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement. As long as you do well, man, and you ain't afraid, that's what you're going to do. That's what you should be doing. That's what you should be doing. But let's continue. Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands. Likewise, ye husbands. This is important. Dwell with them according to knowledge. Us as black men, we got to dwell with them, with our women according to knowledge. What does that mean? What does that mean, dwell with our women according to knowledge? That means according to these scriptures. A lot of women ain't even going to like that either. A lot of women ain't going to like the fact that with us dwelling with them according to the law, statutes, and commandments. They ain't going to like it. But that's what we got to do if we love them. But let's continue. Giving honor unto the wife. Giving honor. So what we're about to say is actually an honor. A lot of women don't like this verse, but it's an honor. As unto the weaker vessel. As unto the weaker vessel. What does that mean? A lot of women take that as them being weak. No. A vessel is something that holds something. Like, you can have a bottle made of steel or metal or brass, and it holds water. It's not a weak vessel. You drop it, it's just going to bounce around a few times, spill a little bit of water, bang, bang. You got one of glass. Put some water in it. Good chance if you drop it, it will break. Good chance. It's a weaker vessel, right? But then there's the weaker vessel made of something valuable like porcelain, ivory. You know what I'm saying? Porcelain is very valuable, especially back then. And porcelain is very fragile. Or clay pot, even clay. Clay was valuable back then too. But let's stick with porcelain because that's a modern day value, right? You see a porcelain pot, you know what I'm saying? A porcelain pot is an art piece. It's a beautiful thing to see. They're doing all types of things with porcelain, with a porcelain vase or something. You know what I'm saying? They're making it all beautiful and things. That's the weaker vessel it's talking about. A fragile piece of art. Treat your woman as that. Delicately. You know what I'm saying? Treat her delicately because she's not a man. She is not a man. She ain't going to understand things the way you do. So you got to be a little more patient and treat her delicately. Common sense, it does mean the lesser of the sex, but it's a little more deeper than that. Because if you say it like that, it can mean that women are lesser than men and women are not very receptive to that. So you got to explain it to what a weaker vessel is. And a weaker vessel is simply put as something that's delicate. You know what I'm saying? There's not a weak vessel that doesn't have value. These clay vases, a clay vase is a vessel, and it's a weak vessel. If you drop a clay vase, all these vases that's in the museum, they are highly valuable. But if you drop them, they're going to shatter. You got that big steel vase, that's men. We just going to bounce around, just fill us back up. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look at women as a valuable weaker vessel. Because women, Black, Hispanic, and Native women are more valuable. You just say a weaker vessel, women are going to take that as an insult, and they ain't going to have the full understanding of it. Because technically, you had a paper vase, a paper mache vase. That's a weak vase. But it has no value. So how are you going to treat it? You're going to treat it like it has no value. The scripture is not telling our women, the scripture is not telling men to treat our women with no value. No, it's telling our men to treat women with value. Because the weaker vase technically should have a higher value. You know what I'm saying? They technically art pieces. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. and as being heirs together of the grace of life, because we are in this together. Our women are literally helpmeets. We are in this together. That's what people don't understand. We are one body, one mind, one flesh, one spirit, one baptism. We are one. If I get a seat on a chariot, guess who's next to me? My woman. And if you got a righteous woman, guess what? Sooner or later, that man will become righteous. That's just the natural order of things. I've seen a lot of sisters bring their husbands into this truth. You know what I'm saying? And those men become mighty soldiers, man. I've seen it. So women have value, so we got to treat them as the weaker vessel, but that vessel is a valuable vessel. So when you think of that weaker vessel, think of it as a porcelain art piece, or a clay art piece, or what's a crystal. There's vases out there. I don't even know how to make vases out of crystal, but they do. There's crystal vases out there. Drop a crystal vase, that joint going to shatter into 1 billion pieces. It's going to turn it to dust. You ain't going to know. But let's finish this up. That your prayers be not hindered. So you're going to be praying for things as a family. Don't hinder those prayers with your bickering or arguing or whatever it may be. Be one unit. Treat each other right. Be happy with each other. As long as you're happy with each other, that's a good thing. And if our black men and black women were happy with each other right now, and we prayed for Christ to come back, he'll probably be back by now. He'd probably be back. We'd probably be in rulership and everything by now. But no, you got these gender wars and everything going on, which is just complete, utter madness. Complete, utter madness. Mind y'all one more time, if you got any questions, type them on in. Type them on in. We're about to go to the Apocrypha now. We're going to 2nd Ezra 16 and 48 through 50. I know, since you know what I'm saying, I've been on class today. I say a scripture, but I end up going before or after it. You know what I'm saying? I keep things pushing. So these scriptures I'm typing up may not be exact, but that's a good learning tool for you, because you should never take precepts that people give you for what they are. You should always read above and after. You should always try to catch the context of what's being said. You know what I'm saying? That's highly important. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 48. Oh, nope, I ain't pressed that. Slow it down. All right. Let me see. Do I want to start at 47 or 46 or something? No, we want to start at 48. I might want to start at 47. Oh, yeah, let's start at 47. I know I was going to do it. Let's start at 47, all right? 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 47. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons. What does that mean? That means the things you get, if you end up stealing it, you end up taking it through some type of false possession. You know what I'm saying? You end up taking your merchandise or your You know what I'm saying? Things that make the city look good, or your houses, or things that you even put on your own body, right? Verse 48. The more will I be angry with them for their sin. Most High is going to be angry with you, saith the Lord. Like as a whore envieth a right, honest, and virtuous woman. Understand that. The way that you get yourself, your things in a wicked way is equated to the way a whore will look at a virtuous woman if she gets her things the right way. There's a lot of contempt there. There's a lot of anger there. You don't want the Lord to be angry with you. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Like as a whore envieth a right, honest, and virtuous woman, so shall righteousness hate iniquity. That's a logical question. So shall righteousness hate iniquity when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face. So the righteousness shall hate iniquity, especially when they all brass about it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they're showing it off to the land. You should hate that iniquity. You should hate sin. You know what I'm saying? So when you see a whore out on the streets, hate her. Hate that whore. What do I mean by hate that whore? I don't mean go out there beating her up, shooting her, whatever, raping her, whatever other craziness I have. I mean, pay her no mind. That's the ultimate hate to a whore. You ignore a whore, she is angry. A righteous woman don't mind being ignored. She might actually prefer it. But a wicked woman hates being ignored. So pay these whores no mind. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Salakia. And shall accuse her to her face. Bring those charges up to her face. Like we all know the verse in Matthew, I believe in Matthew 5, where you got an issue with a brother, go to him and him alone. That extends to sisters too. You got an issue with a sister, even if it's sister to sister or brother to sister. You go to her and her alone. Let her know what it is. Like, yo, you can't be going out there like that. Look at you. You all half dressed. You can't. You speak that to her. You got your breast all out, man. What you doing? Your husband's right there. What you going out looking like that for? You express that to her. That's what a brother does. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. When he cometh, that shall defend him, that diligently searches out every sin upon earth. Let's read that a little more slow. When he cometh, that defend him. When who cometh, that defends who? When the Most High cometh, when your defense cometh, he's going to be searching out every sin. He's going to be searching out every sin in you and every sin in that person that's accusing you. He's going to be searching out. But let's continue. And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor the works thereof. For yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and the righteous shall reign among you. Man, if your sister's acting up, let her know. Let righteousness reign. Because you'd rather go into an argument with you than fall into the hands of the Most High. Because when the Most High comes, yeah, righteousness is going to reign, and it's going to cost lives for that to happen. It's going to cost a lot of lives. Do you want your sister to die? I mean, it's up to her to listen, of course. But you do your part. You do your part. You make sure that she hears what you're saying. And you go to her. She don't want to hear it, kick the dust off your boots, man. And just keep it stepping. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Let's drop that. Let's stay in the Apocrypha. This one's a long, this is actually a chapter. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 25. Like I already went over the purpose of the Apocrypha, right? It's a collection of books. It's actually the word Apocrypha actually means hidden books. Because the Catholic Church took them out of the original text and hid them. They were hidden for a grip too. You know what I'm saying? They were hidden for a while. Nobody knew about them. Nobody knew about these records. But this is a dope book right here. It's actually pretty long. I might skip through. I might just, read it all the way through. How much time I got? I got like a little more than 15 minutes. The water, sis. Most appreciated. Most appreciated. But let's get with it. I encourage you to read Ecclesiasticus 25 whenever you can, because it's a very dope book, especially when it comes to the relationship between black men and black women. But not just that, it also is a good thing to show you how to be a good woman, a good wife, and everything else. You know what I'm saying? So let's get with it. Ecclesiasticus 25, verse 1. In 3 things I was beautified. So there's 3 things that's making this brother look good. Actually, Ecclesiasticus is a woman. So let me take that back. It wasn't written by a woman, but it was the stories a woman was telling to her son. The lessons a woman was telling to her son. In 3 things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before the Lord and men. So these things are making you look good before the Most High and before your brothers. The unity of brethren. There's none. I mean, if you come to the Passover, which is April 15th in Cocoa Beach, Florida, you going to the Passover, sis? Let the world know if you're going. See, there's one thing you must know, because we had the Passover in your town last year, and that joy was epic. Epic. But there's nothing more beautiful than when brothers come together in unity. When brothers are together, there's nothing more beautiful. And when it's saying brother, it's not meaning just males. It's meaning when the nation comes together too. There's nothing more beautiful than that. You know what I'm saying? The love of neighbors, no more beautiful than the love of your neighbors, which is something else that you see every Passover. A man and a wife that agree together. Nothing more beautiful than a man and a wife agreeing together. Being of one mind, one spirit, one body. There's nothing more beautiful. Because what the Most High put together, no man can tear apart, because it's just that beautiful. It's just that beautiful when they come together. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's brothers in the school, like Officer knocking his rib. I swear they are twins, man. Their whole behavior and demeanor is identical. And that's like the flyest thing I could see. I love seeing them two together. Even when they're apart, I see the other. And that's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? I see that with Captain's ribs. Like, I haven't seen like everybody up on, I don't go on Facebook that much anymore. But when I hop on Facebook and I see a brother, I see his rib. When I see a brother's rib, I see her husband. It's the way it should be. It's the way it should be, because they are one body. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Verse 2. 3 sort of men my soul hateth, and I am greatly offended at the life. A poor man that is proud, a rich man that is a liar, and an old adulterer that doteth. What does doteth mean? An old adulterer that's looking back on his ways, reminiscing and everything, man. All sad and depressed over the way he's living now because he's old. He can't get it like he used to. Shouldn't have been an adulterer in the first place, because he would have had his own woman and he would have been with his woman happy. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to skip down a couple of verses. Where we're going to go? Where are we going to go? Let's go to verse 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy. So there's 9 things that makes him happy. And the 10th I will utter with my tongue. So he's happy to even say it out loud. A man that have joy of his children, which is a beautiful thing. That means your children are living right. You are proud of your children. You telling them do this, do that. It's a beautiful thing to have joy in your children. But if your children's claiming that they're homosexual, part of the rainbow flag, that's misery and a shame. You know what I'm saying? If your children are committing all types of crime, drug dealing, pimping, whatever, so forth and so on the stripper pole, that is a shame. There's no joy in that. But let's continue. And he that liveth to see the fall of his enemies, which is a glorious thing, which I hope we see real soon. I hope we see America fall. Not just America. I hope we see Ukraine fall. I hope we see Russia fall. I hope we see France, England, and all of them fall. I hope this Third World War gets sparked off soon. Because that would be beautiful. Hope Russia don't back down from the Ukraine. No. Hope Russia understands the assignment and just completes it. Complete the assignment, Russia. Verse 8, well is him that dwelleth with a wife of understanding. It's a good thing to have a wife of understanding. What does that mean to have a wife of understanding? A wife of understanding is a wife that understands what you are about and is in agreement with what you are about. That's a wife of understanding. But let's continue. And that have not slipped with his tongue, and that have not served a man more unworthy than himself. You know what I'm saying? She has not slipped of the tongue to a man. She has not been with a man more unworthy than him. She values her husband. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. There's one more I want to bring out in this chapter. Verse 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. Verse 17. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. And y'all seen that. Y'all seen that. Y'all seen that. You might have a homie in the world, and the next thing you know, his woman's calling his phone. All he goes is, what this bitch want? Or something to that effect. You seen it. You seen it out there. You seen this. This verse is real live Black history. You know what I'm saying? Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, he shall sigh bitterly. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of the sinner fall upon her. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. That means I'm not stable. Let's bring that back. As the climbing up a sandy way. You're climbing up a sandy hill. You ever climb up a sand dune? That's hard. Is to the feet of the aged. Like you're an old person climbing up a sand dune. So is a wife full of words, yapping at the mouth, to a quiet man. Like there's a lot of men that are quiet. I don't suggest you be quiet. I suggest you put up the same energy she puts up. But at the same time, I understand it's such a headache. Why do it? You know, she might call the police. Next thing you know, you're in jail. I understand. But put up that fight. Let her know something. Because if you don't, she's going to continue. She will continue in her ways. You know what I'm saying? Verse 21, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. Don't stumble at the beauty of a woman. Don't be tripped up because she's fine. Who cares? Oh, she got a big backside and big breasts, and she got a cute smile, lovely eyes, and she, whatever you like, fair skin, dark skin, you know what I'm saying? She got long hair, straight, curly, she got a big fro, whatever it may be that you find beautiful, don't stumble at it. It's a dime a dozen and it has no value. It's going to fade away. It's going to mean nothing. No matter how fine a woman is, her beauty means nothing. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. What does it mean for a woman to maintain her husband? This ain't talking about financial. This is not a financial maintenance. No, this is a maintenance of dealing, like if he's all emotional and next thing you know, she got to deal with, maintain this, like, definitely don't do that. But let's continue. Now let's drop there. There was a particular verse I wanted. Let's go to Proverbs 3 and 17. But read that whole chapter. Read that whole chapter, man. Actually, let's start with 15. I got a little bit of time. I got like 6 minutes. Let's try to get it in real quick. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things that canst compare are not to be compared unto her. That's how valuable she is. A righteous woman is uncomparable. Length of days is in her right hand. She could lengthen a man's days. A woman that is righteous could make a man live longer. You know what I'm saying? And in her left hand, riches and honor. She also, could bring a man, a good name and some dough. That's what she can do. That's her power. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. That is a beautiful thing. That's what your woman should be. A way of peace, a way of happiness, not just to you, but to everybody. I know some women like to run their mouth off to the world, but think that everything, you got to be quiet just to you. No. Be a symbol of peace unto the world. Whatever gripes you got to the world, that's what you got your husband for. Go tell him, go aggravate him with it. That's an aggravation most men don't mind. We'll listen to your problems. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to end the class on that. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohana. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to be a trooper in the school, please get in all black. Black shirt, black pants. You know what I'm saying? Black headpiece, black boots. And get in contact with the head of your school. Let me put our number up there real quick before we close out. If you want to be one in Boston, if you're in the Boston area and you want to be one, call that number at the bottom of the screen right there. You know what I'm saying? We'll get you right. We'll tell you, we teach you who you are. You know what I'm saying? We teach you We'll counsel you on all your problems in your life, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what brotherhood is. You know what I'm saying? And we got the Passover coming up April 15th. Let's get it in. Let's get it in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Man, Florida was my home in this truth, man. That's where it all started at for me. Go to Florida, man. Get up with your brothers and sisters, man. Get those tickets as soon as possible. Because you know with this war in the Ukraine, oil is going to, I mean, the oil price of oil is going to go up. That means the price of fuel is going up. That means price of flights is going up. So get that ASAP. Get your tickets ASAP. You know what I'm saying? At least get your flight there. Get your flight there. We'll figure out where you're going to lay your head later. But get your flight there ASAP. You know what I'm saying? And with that, shalom.